Hello, you all. Welcome to this new edition of Lectio Musica, the place for great lyrics, great music, and great meaning. My name is Guylain Prince. I'm a Franciscan friar from Canada. I love rock music forever, and especially hard rock, metal, and prog. Every week, we stop together. We listen to a song carefully, and in this case, in many versions. The song of this week is The Code of Life by the band Epica from the Netherlands. It's part of their last album called Omega. It was published in February 2021, so it's very recent. Let me give you the screen. This is the fifth song of the album called The Code of Life. Last week I reacted to the song Gaia. Reaction and analysis, and this week earlier I reacted to the song, the orchestral version, but I forgot to include the Spanish version in it's an acoustic version, so you have a separate video for that version, Spanish version of the song called Código Vital, El Código Vital. So I reacted to that version. So go, if you haven't seen my reaction, I think you want to see my reaction to all these videos, the orchestral version as well. Here is the analysis in English of the same song. It's the fifth album of the it's the fifth song of the album Omega. That's the 8th studio album. It was published, like I said, in 2021. The composer of the song is the keyboardist Cohen Janssen, with the band, of course, in the process of giving form to the song. Every member usually contribute to the final product. I will say it like that. The lyricist is Simone. Probably the whole band got something to do with it, but mainly it's Simone. Now, the opening of the song is completely to my taste. I mean, I fell in love even before one word was sung, and happily surprised that the rest of the song was of the same level. The flute states immediately the climate. There's enough familiarity in terms of melody and atmosphere with Middle Eastern music. The melodic line are not unheard in Middle East music, but like I said, there's enough familiarity to recognize immediately the influence, but there's enough creativity at the same time to make that song stand apart. It's not exactly that, and especially we will talk about the arrival of the metal band at one point. And here, Simone's performance, as well as the Arabic singer called Zaher Zorgati from the band, I think it's called Myreth, is to me stellar. It's to me perfect. She fits in there, and this singer is exceptional. So I was so impressed by his performance that I will listen to Myreth. I really already downloaded some material from them. I will listen to that. I'm really interested in hearing that Middle East music with a metal color. Now, you will notice that during the opening at one point, there is the fluidity and the swing, the actual swing of the Middle Eastern rhythm. And at one moment, there is the metal band with a more, I would say, square beat, really 4x4, very square, on which you still have a melody. So there's, I would say, it's a kind of an hybrid product we have from that moment almost till the end. Very interesting. The section that we will see in Arabic is sung by men only all along the song, unless I made a mistake. But the A section What I learned in English is called a refrain. A refrain is one line or two that are repeated, but they might have different form, but you recognize the familiarity, and this is exactly what we have. It's a refrain with the English precise understanding of that word. This time it's a two-line refrain, 8 words, and you will see that it will be all along the song decline in different variations. So you will have a A1, A2, A3, A4, same basic melody, same basic structure, but organized a little bit differently, so that the meaning changes along the way. Now, what is said seems to be, I'm not familiar with Arabic. I asked for the translation with my translator applications and everything. I got the same thing as Google Translate. So I assume that it's simply 8 words, one after the other. Arabic subscriber, don't hesitate to correct us anytime, no problem. The only difference you can have in translation from one application to the other is for the word science. It is sometimes simply knowledge, and in fact, in terms of etymology, science is knowledge. You will have old document from antiquity where science means simply knowledge. It is not what I would say the discipline, the modern discipline that we consider to be the scientific method, for example. It's the knowledge. Now, what are they saying? Code, life, science, change. Code, life, science, death. We will see they will use during the song the expression code of life. It's the title. Science, we will see that they will talk in the song about the genetic, I would call it like this right now, manipulation, the research being done on the DNA, the human DNA. So the knowledge change, either the knowledge grows and or the knowledge change something. I think it both could be implied in that sentence. Code, life, science, death. If I see the second line, these are 4 words and no verbs, I would think that change here is not a verb, but a word. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. So, the code of life, there's knowledge, there is change. Code of life, there's knowledge and death. And we will see what it is all about because the song is pretty clear on that. The section B, sung by Simone, is the most explicit one. This one these section raise questions about the knowledge we are gaining as we explore human genetics, but is there questions that we should have at this point? So here it goes. Standing before our great alteration, we all are lost in a power maze. Minds contemplating around saving and life's mutation. We are the victims of our destination. The drive within is an endless race. No cure for progress, our lives will be lost in damnation. I think these words to be quite clear, in fact. Great alteration for me seems quite clear that it's the manipulation of the genes that we already have in other fields, like for food, for animals. Now we are manipulating human genes. We are lost in a power maze. We will come back on this theme of being overly confident, maybe, to be in a, we say power trip even in Quebec in French, to really, because we have the power, we think it's normal or we have to do it because there's the possibility. We don't question of the relevance to do it. Minds contemplating around, saving and life's mutation. Saving life, probably that's the only ambiguity I see in that sentence. So minds contemplating around, saving lives and life's mutation, that could be one around. So, but another understanding would be contemplating around saving. So it would be these minds are well. There's good intentions. They want to save. They want to do good things, and they look life's mutation as well. So there's an interest in saving and an interest in the mutations we have in the world of life in general. But here there is a stance. We are the victims of our destination. And what is this destination? The drive within is an endless race. Oh, there is something in the human mind that is impossible to satisfy. I think that would be the power-driven maze. We enter in a maze because we have the power to do it, because we are driven by an endless race, thirst, probably for knowledge, probably to help, probably this. And there is no cure for that, this drive. There will be always something else to look for. Will lose us in damnation here. I think you understand it. We'll lose it. We will enter into a maze from which we will not come out, I would say, alive and or healthy. We will say that like this. Now, in section C, that's the chorus. In this chorus, you have the choir. This time it's a mixed choir, male and female, but there are also children in there. So there is a dimension of future that is considered by this song. Simone sings all the white sentences, but in between you have the choir saying vita, life. Can we defy the code of life? We try to be divine. It's the origin of human lies. This would be a very, I would say, a very Judeo-Christian statement that trying to be a god, or pretending to be a god, not finding a divine dimension of the human race, of the human heart, but pretending to be the sole person able to make a decision over nature. It would be here to try to be divine and to be the origin of human lies. Yeah, in Judeo-Christian we say this is basically the big first sin that will, which is at the origin of everything else. Okay, so can we defy is presented here as a question. So at one point I was asking myself, does Epica only raises the question, raise the question, or if they really have an opinion on that? And I think the rest of the song will give us that opinion. There is the refrain, so a variation of the first section. Here we just have life and code of life. Life is encoded. Why are we changing what's there by creation? You see how life code, instead of code of life, here gives the orientation of this second verse. Now let's talk about the code that is naturally in what exists. why are we changing what is there by creation? There's an opinion here of the visible world as being created. It's meant to be for eternity. This should not be changed. Okay? So there's a question mark. Will we abandon the arms of our dear Mother Nature? So probably creation by Mother Nature, and the life of codes, life that is encoded, would be here a statement that there is already a code in nature. Why are we changing that? Okay? Why don't we respect that code already being there? Seeking too deep in the glass of all wisdom, seeing a wave in the sea of life. This is for me the more obscure sentences of the song. The glass of all wisdom, I don't know what is the glass. Is it the fact that a little bit like glasses or microscope gives us a certain perspective on reality that is altered? So through the glass of all wisdom, we are seeking too deep. We are looking too far. We are going too deep, too far. Is it possible to go too deep, too far? Well, according to that sentence, Epicah thinks yes. Seeing a wave in the sea of life, there's life presented as a sea and there's a wave. So I see that and I seek in that to cure the fallen. Who is the fallen here? Is it the broken genetic human being, those with the fault in their genetic code? I would personally vouch for that one, not vouch, but vote for that understanding here. So there is an interest to go as deep as possible into the genetic code so as to cure the fallen one. But in doing so, we pay the price of greater danger. So this manipulation of genetics will have even worse consequences than the kind of equilibrium that nature gave us. That would be my take on this one. What do you think, especially of the second part of the verse? Now, you have the same chorus with a slight variation that we will see a little bit later, but for now it's the same chorus. The beat offers a little bit more pressure, and is very often when Mark comes, it's the case. He's about, we see a certain kind of emotional and rhythmic build-up. That's the case to prepare for the entrance of Mark in growling. What does he say? There is no soul in artificial selection. As we are driven by endless pride, we'll crack the code of life. There it is. The song is about the coming realization of being able to understand and to have a map of the génome humain. Human genome, I think you say as well in English, to understand the DNA, the full map of the DNA. So we are about to crack it up, if it's not done. I'm not a specialist of that matter. I'm a little bit aware. So here again, Marx gives the key of the song. It's really the complete mapping of the human DNA. And for him, it's driven by endless pride that we do that. There is something vicious in that effort, apparently. But for him, it's not only knowledge. The knowledge itself, I'm not sure he would be against it. As I know Mark from other songs, his openness to science, the development of science, I don't think there is the problem with knowledge. It's the fact that from this will begin a race for artificial selection. Ah, there it is. For me, to what will serve, what will be the use of that mapping of the human DNA. And for me, there is the question. There it is in that. So everything that has been said before, I think at the summit of all this is these three lines that gives the meaning of everything. Now let's continue our exploration of the song. Code, life, science, change. You recognize it's exactly one of the sentence of the first A section. This you recognize the two first line. Can we defy the code of life? We try to be divine and bathe in all eternal light. Isn't that? So we try to be divine. We consider ourselves as the deciders of who can live and not. This chorus continues in renewed, not only three lines, but 4 lines, and the content is more and more explicit. We can design another's life. We should obey the wind that sways. We should not lead astray, for the code of life's the only way. The code of life then is really the code of the DNA by Mother Nature. It presented here as very positive, the respect of what nature produced through time, and that we are actually in a race where we want to modify what has been the accomplishment of Mother Nature. And in that, the fear that Epica has is that we decide and we design another's life, but we decide who lives or not. We should obey the wind and no lead astray from what we should do. And lead astray here, of course, is manipulation. So here we have a bridge that I really love. I have a little hesitation in calling it a bridge because it's not, or if it's a bridge, that would be a bridge including what Mark said, including this modified chorus. I prefer here to call it extended inter. An inter is simply a small instrumental part between two portions of a musical piece, of a song. We don't really have, I would say, a big bridge, or the bridge is all this together. Anyways, I love this portion. The highlight of this is that you have a square hi-hat. The hi-hat are the two cymbals that the drummer hit with regularity, but he adds, this time it's not a square beat. This is it is in a metal way a very elegant way to include the swing of the Middle Eastern beat you have at the beginning. It's intricate, it's powerful, and overall it's striking. I really enjoyed this right from the first listening. Under the melodic line of the intro that we can recognize the punches of the keyboard, the voices, everything is there from the intro, but you have something under it that is, absolutely gorgeous. I would have liked this section to be a little bit longer. I hope that live they gave themselves a little bit of space for that. It's wonderful. What is it now? Now, the code, the life code of the science of death. This could be quite a statement. Genetic manipulation would be science of death. So there is a fear in that song that all this will not end positively. So this life code is a modified code of the science of death. And it ends like that, abruptly again. Again, another song that ends with the last words. So think about it. Think about it. Let's go now and look at for the music, the lyrics first, a general point. First of all, if you look the construction of that song with the previous one, Gaia, there's almost no difference. So the structure of the song is basically the same. The only difference is that the opening is longer, that the bridge is shorter, and but everything else is in the same order. You have the same, I would say, repetition of the refrain, the verse, the chorus, the refrain, verse, chorus, and every time the refrain has a slight difference. Basically, there's only a little, in terms of minutes, seconds, a little bit longer here, a little bit longer, but basically it's the same structure of the previous song. The Middle Eastern atmosphere I love. It's remarkable contrast with the choir as well. Their male section, everything's sung in A, with the choir, the male, female, and children singing the C and C prime. So, and there's also a rhythmic contrast between the Eastern beats and rhythm section and the Western one, which is more like a 4/4 square, on which the melody and the punches are still present from Middle East. I love this contrast. I just wonder, in terms of music, if the very square beat is not representative of the Western mindset manipulating the genetic code, in which Middle Eastern would be on the side of Mother Nature, because it's more organic, the instruments are very natural. I think there is something in there between the two, I would say, ensemble of instruments. In terms of lyrics, I think it's quite straightforward. It's simple to read and understand. There's personification of Mother Earth, Mother Nature as creator, humanity about to crack the code of life, as said in the words of Mark. Mark usually in this album impersonates our fears, the fury of the first song, The Abyss of Time, and he is quite coherent with that. In this song here, he embodies the urge for progress that leads us astray towards a bad conclusion. So I'm pleasantly, I think it's a pleasant surprise for me. In this case, he does not embody the fear that blocks something. Here it would be a justified fear, okay? And in fact, instead of blocking us, would be in synchronicity with, I would say, human and spiritual growth. Because sometimes fear, stress is a good thing. If there's a real danger, it's a good thing. And I think he talks with good sense in that song. Now, we are about to complete, also, what is the meaning of the song? We are about to complete the Génome Humain, if it's not done already, the genetic foundation mapping of the human race. How it is built and how it works, and where are the faults in the genetic code of something we see outside, a fault in the kidneys, a fault in the mind, in the whatever. This quest is often justified by the identification and the treatment of faults and disease. There's justification for the quest of knowledge about the human race. So this is the justification. But the modification of the genetic code here, I think, is under the expression trying to be divine, to play with someone else's life is a matter of great preoccupation. We see that when Simone asks questions with interrogation mark, even in the song, they are not sure that it's fully bad, but at least there's a big preoccupation here. But the fears usually embodied by Mark block normally our human and spiritual journey. But here, the fear that Mark expresses about genetic manipulation is not presented as negatively. The song raises big question marks about that. But why? Why? For what this human genome has been made? What will be the use of that? So I think that the basis of Epica, why they have so many questions, is that we witness, as we speak, an attitude of the human race that is very negative from Epica's point of view, and I share this point of view as well, in environmental issues. There is a tendency for the negation of what is nature and what should be good for nature and should be good for the human race. This quest, as we see it in environmental issues, is not for the good of humanity and of the planet. The economical consideration will always take the lead in most of these subjects again. And when money and power are involved, the knowledge is not always a good thing. The knowledge is simply the knowledge to sell again, and not to know or to look for the good of all, I think there is this preoccupation in that song. Historically, when growth in knowledge is not accompanied by the growth in good sense, judgment, and wisdom and spirituality, it turns bad. Okay, with a knowledge in the wrong hands is not a good thing, and I think there is a preoccupation that the mapping, the genetic mapping of the human race will not be used for good things. Again, it will fall into economic mind, and it will not be the good of the majority, it will be the good of the few. Okay? So based on the present, Epica has no confidence in the future use of cracking the code of life. And I have to say that I share this preoccupation. This song for me, from A to Z, from beginning to end, form and topic and subject and everything, I am totally satisfied. Now, I am surprised by the Spanish version, and I think in the Latin American way, my Latin American friend, I want you to write down, I want you to write in Spanish, in English, in French, whatever, but I want to hear you. Because my take on the Spanish version is typically Latin American, to talk about serious topic, but not by holding our heads like this, but by saying, hey, in all of this, let's choose life. Because for me, the samba, the bossa nova beats, they are there to say, let's choose life in there. What do you think? I want to hear you all. So this is it for that beautiful song. That's my third of the album, where I am totally satisfied by Epica. On I would say it's the fifth song, but it's the sixth instrumental piece of the album, because there is the opening. 3, excellent for me, excellent. With the opening, I would say 4/6 is already an excellent average. Let's see the rest of the album, but until now, I think it will be a very pleasant album from what I hear. It's just that I do not like very much two of them until now, but we will see. We will see. 12 songs, 12 weeks. Next week, the sixth reaction in French with subtitles. Don't forget, you have the subtitles in 5 languages now. The Netherlander has been added to English, French, Spanish, and Italian. We will listen always the studio and another version. And the premiere of that next song called Freedom will be next Wednesday, 1:30. The hour is Montreal. The reference point is Montreal, 1:30 Montreal time. Look on the internet to see what will be your hour, or you can subscribe and click the bell just beside to receive notification that the reaction video is about to begin. The premiere is about to begin. As for now, I am extremely pleased with that song. I love it. I think it's coherent with what has been established by the first, the second song. Coherent as well with the previous one, Gaia, even if I didn't like the song as much. But there is coherence as I can see right now. There's a context being well established. I'm really looking forward for the next song and the next songs. See you next Wednesday. Bye-bye, y'all.